All right, this guy, he does it all. I mean, literally today, he's going to be on with Alan Hahn and Humpty, which is, the rocket ship show on this station. He actually screened phone calls for this show, and now he's playing Mariano Rivera on this show, closing it out.
Well, let's not get crazy. I mean, no one's better than Mariano Rivera.
Well, I didn't say you were better.
Well, I mean, just to be mentioned in the same category. I mean, I appreciate that. But I love the show so much. I like to answer phones for you guys.
Well, thank you. In all of your phone screening, what was the most unbelievable call that you took? And did they know it was you?
No, they didn't know it was me. And the craziest phone call was, this was dead, honest truth. Talbot should have been played instead of Lundqvist. He handles the puck better, and he's got a much better glove. No, I'm not even joking.
Did you answer him?
I may have giggled, but I said, no, it's a good call. I like the energy. We'll see what Michael and Don think, because that's right in Don's wheelhouse.
Yeah, he hung up before we could get him.
Well, because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because everyone likes when Don gets crazy, and I figured the more calls that are going to get Don crazy, the better.
It's so interesting. Everybody's coming up with a theory. Because the Rangers lost, they were supposed to win the Stanley Cup Finals, so they're not built for the playoffs. Cam Talbot should have started. I mean, sometimes it just happens. This is not a sport that honors the best teams. 6 President's Trophy winners in the last 28 years have won the Stanley Cup. That means 22 didn't. So, yeah, it's very, very disappointing. But to go back and say that AV was outcoached or that Talbot should have played, they never should have made the Yandle deal. All these different things. I mean, I just think sometimes it just happens. Look at Detroit. 95, they win the Stanley Cup. 96, they win the President's Trophy. They break the record for points in a regular season, get beat in the conference final. And then the next 2 years, they win the Stanley Cup. I'm not saying that's going to happen for the Rangers, but sometimes you just got to wait it out a little while, and maybe it'll come later on.
Well, Don's been giving me a lot of pushback on failure, although not as much today because everything was lined up on Friday for them to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. You're really the only one at the station that's backing me a little bit.
Yeah, listen, you play 82 games to get home ice advantage through the playoffs, and that's what they did. They set themselves out perfectly. You don't get your name on the President's Trophy, so at the end of the day, who cares? All that does is give you Game 7. But I make this point, when was the last time you succeeded at something and you were disappointed? I mean, you're disappointed when you fail at something. Right. Their goal was to win a Stanley Cup. They failed at that. But, I mean, and Don, you make a great point that it's so hard to get back here. So for me, a team that's been to the conference finals 3 of the last 4 years, to say that next year they're going to be back, I mean, I have a hard time believing that.
Are they not big enough? I mean, are they not physical enough?
No, I just don't think, and I'm not sure what Don thinks, they don't have that guy. When you need someone to take over the game and get you that goal, they don't have what the Blackhawks have. They don't have a Taze. They don't have a Kane. They don't have an offensive defenseman like a Keith. I mean, they don't have that guy that you can just say, all right, go get us a goal. I thought when Lundqvist made that save on Tyler Johnson at the end of the second period, I said, all right, this guy is going to somehow find a way to drag this team to the Stanley Cup. And again, I think Don made the point that the first goal in that game was going to be huge, and it proved to be huge.
That's just unbelievable, that save on Johnson, right?
And then he made a save. Then he made a save in front again when it was 1-0. You're thinking, okay, they're going to tie this game up because this is what this team does now. They keep you at your edge of your seat and they find a way to win it, and they just couldn't do it.
I was just looking at the list of free agents. I don't think there's an impact guy.
You got to make a trade.
No, what's going to be interesting now, it'll be funny to see what teams think of Talbot. Do teams feel like this guy could be a franchise guy?
Piece, right.
And he's got another year at reasonable money, so we'll see. But there's a lot of teams, I'm telling you, Don, that are going to be looking for someone to step in there between the pipes.
Are you willing, and I don't know what they have, but Ryan Kessler is a free agent at the end of next season.
I like him.
Do the Ducks, he's a big, thick guy, can play center. That's what they're looking for, but, even though he's a free agent at the end of next year, Anaheim's not just going to give him away for nothing. So, and I don't know what they have after making the deals that they made for Yandle and for St. Louis with the picks that they gave up, whether there's enough to be able to entice Anaheim to trade him.
You know what? You're going to have to hope that a guy like J.T. Miller steps up, that Hayes steps up. You saw at times,
That's the hope.
You saw at times what they're capable of, but the playoffs is a different kind of hockey. It's tough to score goals. There's no time. There's no space. But I think those guys showed. I think for me the big disappointment was Rick Nash. I mean, even Donnie, I'm telling you, I said this when you had the call, which was, in my opinion, one of the greatest calls on radio with his goal. You were legitimately more excited about him scoring than he was. I mean, he is Jay Cutler to me. He's Jay Cutler. You watch his body language, his mannerisms. Yeah, he's doing all the right things, but again, he's not inspiring me. If you give me that intensity, that energy, I can live with the fact that maybe he didn't score because he's going to the net hard. Like with Kreider, I think Kreider gets a pass a lot of the times because you see how he plays. I mean, he plays hard, he plays physical, and you kind of overlook those mistakes because this guy's trying. Rick Nash, maybe because the game comes easy to him, it doesn't look like he's trying all the time, but he just doesn't inspire me.
Like the old Robinson Cano curse.
Yeah, like Lundqvist inspires me. You see him after a game, he looks like he just got mugged. You know, and he's exhausted. Everything he does, it's the hardest. You know, he's the hardest working guy on that team, and that's not a team that's going to win when you need someone to score goals.
But they used to compliment Marty Brodeur. You couldn't tell if he was up 10-0 or down 10-0, and they'd say, "See, that's the composure you're looking for." So I just think he needs to translate his game to the playoffs, and the best way to do that is to find somebody else. You can't have your second goal scorer be half of the goals that Nash has. Everybody we talk about in Chicago, Anaheim, it's 2 guys, it's 3 guys. For the Rangers, you have Nash with 42 goals, and then St. Louis and Kreider with 21. Somebody else has to step up their game.
It's almost like the hockey version of the Knicks. You have Carmelo, and you don't have a second guy.
Well, but I think that's the issue, too, is that I think Rick Nash kind of could be like Carmelo, where he needs pieces around him. He's not going to be the LeBron James that's going to take you to the promised land. Your LeBron James is Henrik Lundqvist, and unfortunately, he can't score goals and save the game single-handedly for you.
Now, we were talking earlier about the Johnny Manziel situation. Now, when you played, single guy, incredibly good-looking. So
I appreciate that.
People were probably bothering you. How did you stay out of trouble?
Well, I made it a point. I just realized, and maybe this was just my dad always saying to me, you're always judged of what you do away from the rink, and I never wanted to do something to disappoint him or my mother. But, I mean, there's definitely opportunities. I would tell the story all the time. You go to Madison Square Garden, which was my favorite place to play, but I'd get there 3:30 for a 7 o'clock game, and there'd be people waiting outside to just completely rip you. Your mother's this, and then ask you for an autograph. And it's like, I don't know. I guess you just shake it off and say, I guess you're doing your job if people hate you this much. But I think Johnny Manziel is in one of those positions where now he's going to deal with this for the rest of his career, right? People are just going to continue to try to do stuff because he's proven that, and it always happens to the guys that listen, like A-Rod's that got the rabbit ears. He knows when people are saying things. Jeter's, he's getting booed at his own place. He doesn't even, he just washes it off.
But to A-Rod's credit, never gets into trouble
he doesn't.
The field because he doesn't react to it. He hears it, he engenders it, but it's weird that he never acts on it. Johnny Manziel can't throw that bottle of water at the guy. He just can't, no matter what the guy's saying.
You need to surround yourself with the people that'll do that for you.
Right.
I just think, but 2 hours. I mean, guys going 2 hours after him. I mean, at one point, wouldn't you be Johnny Manziel and go, maybe I should get out of here? I mean, this isn't a good situation for me.
Or sign the guy's autograph.
No, do something. I know. Why don't you sign the guy's autograph?
Then it's
I just have to believe at some point, they could have avoided the physical escalation of it. He's an 18-year-old. Call somebody. They could have removed him. I mean, this is a golf tournament, right? You're usually not chirping around anyway.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they let it go on.
Well, no, what apparently, so and the Byron Nelson, which is known for having crazy amounts of alcohol consumption, there's 4 seasons, and the pool is right along the 18th. Right. So people will pool party and have drinks and everything else and act up. And I guess that's where it all started. But it's incredible to me that somebody like that, and that's why I love J.J. Watt so much, like your window of opportunity to play your sport and make your money is so short. You can have all that fun afterwards. If you do your job on the field, you'll have plenty of time and money to do that. Just stay, you go into rehab. Just stay out of trouble, would you?
All right, now, what do you have coming up on the show?
Well, on the show, we got a chance to talk, we're going to speak with Howie Rose, talk about the Mets a little bit. We're going to kind of put a bow on the Rangers season, maybe sprinkle in some NBA stuff, because on Thursday we're going to be off at 9, so we can all listen to the fun and
but you
fantastic
don't understand.
LeBrons.
Don and I were talking about this before. You don't understand how big you and Han are right now.
No.
Because they would never, ever preempt the pregame show for a championship round like they are with you guys. You're taking it right up to tip at 9.
We're taking it to tip, yeah.
Unheard of.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. It's
you guys should march in and just renegotiate whatever's going on. Because they'd say, you got to get off right away because we have, right?
Yeah.
For baseball games, you got to get off. There's got to be an hour pregame.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, they told us today that our reads aren't very good, so we have to work on that.
Really?
Yeah, Alan's pretty upset right now in the studio.
That's what they try to find when there's nothing else to complain about.
Right.
I don't know about that. You guys are the best. You guys are our role models. We look up to you guys.
I sleep in that T-shirt that's right over there.
The Han and Humpty T-shirt.
It's unbelievable.
That does not look like Han.
But he gets a physical naked. I don't understand.
Well, I get a physical naked, too.
Well, you keep your clothes on?
Any
You gotta
excuse
check
to get
everything
naked.
out.
I mean, I don't want any moles. I got all sorts of things.
Yeah. Did you worry about Hep C when you got the
The tattoos, no. I have a good tattoo artist. I don't go to the same person that Pamela Anderson went to.
Right.
Luckily for me. But
does it hurt?
It does hurt. I had my dad. We got the one on my forearm right here. My dad and I got the same tattoo. It's his wings from Vietnam. He was a helicopter pilot. But to see his face, and your dad is like, you never want to see him. He's the toughest guy you know.
Right.
As soon as the needle hit his arm, I swear to God, I thought he was going to start crying.
Wow. I would.
No, you'd be fine.
No, I wouldn't.
Listen, if the Yankees win a World Series in the next 3 years, I'll get your face tattooed on my back. The Michael K face right on my back. Trust me. I'm live on Yes.
Starting to root tonight.
Live on Yes.
Pineda against King Felix. Come on, Yankees. Anyway, coming up, Han and Humpty. See everybody.